Hello fellas. Welcome back to Top 5 Choices. This is Haley from Top 5 Choices, and I hope you all are doing good. In today's video, I am going to do a detailed review and pick the top 5 best VR headsets, 2022. After doing proper researches, we came to the conclusion that meets the best in terms of overall. Kindly leave a like if you find this helpful, and I'd appreciate if you subscribe to my channel and turn on post notifications if you haven't. We will be also providing affiliates link to purchase from Amazon. Kindly use it for best offers and purchase from anywhere in the world. We'll be back with more videos. The first thing you'll notice about the Oculus Rift S is that it's a lot easier to set up than the original Oculus. There are no lighthouse sensors to place, you just plug it in, download the software, and watch some mandatory training videos like you just got a job at 7-Eleven. Mark out a safe space. 6.5 feet x 6.5 feet is recommended for room scale experiences you can walk around in, so you don't hit anything. Tuck your hands into the controller tethers, don't drink straight out of the Slurpee machine, etc. Unboxing everything takes longer than the setup. When you first put on the headset, you'll go through an orientation that runs you through the basics. It's well-paced and succinctly explains everything you need to know. The screen door effect isn't as strong as it used to be either. If you're unfamiliar, the screen door effect is what happens when you get really close to an LCD screen and you can see the space between pixels, like if you stand super close to a TV. It's a problem in VR. Things are likely a lot clearer than the last time you tried VR. I didn't have any trouble reading the text in the onboard web browser. Even on a website not optimized for VR, I had no trouble reading 12-point font. That's a big improvement over the original Rift. There's a little more than added pixels at play here. The original Oculus Rift had two 1080 by 1200 pixel displays inside it with a refresh rate of 90 Hz, one for each eye. The Rift S uses a single display with a resolution of 2560 by 1440 with a refresh rate of 80 Hz. Because of the improved display in the Rift S, environments are much sharper and clearer. Fine details are easier to pick up, and small text isn't completely illegible like it used to be. The refresh rate on the Rift S is admittedly lower than the original Oculus Rift, but side by side I cannot spot a difference, even in high-res experiences. With the right PC hardware, gameplay is liquid smooth. PlayStation VR can handle 1080p games on its 920x RGB x 1080 OLED display at either 90 Hz, meaning that the image refreshes itself 90 times per second, or at 120 Hz depending on the VR game or application. And for those concerned about latency, Sony says that PlayStation VR's response rate is locked in at around 18 milliseconds, which is about 0.002 seconds faster than the highest acceptable latency before you would notice the lag in VR. Those numbers are great, but they're matched by both the HTC Vive and Oculus Rift. The one advantage Sony has that neither Oculus nor HTC can claim is that it's actually a world-class game publisher. While the other two have been trying to create connections with developers over the past few years, Sony already has them. As a result, the best PlayStation VR games list is being constantly updated with excellent fresh experiences, with plenty more arriving all the time. From shooters to puzzlers, platformers to narrative adventures, there's variety and depth to PSVR's growing gaming catalog. There's also another piece of hardware to consider when looking at buying a PlayStation VR, and that's Sony's brand new, ultra-powered PS4 Pro. With additional processing power, the PS4 Pro is capable of creating an even more immersive virtual reality experience for the games that support it. The improvements PS4 Pro promises can take many forms, from more detailed textures to better draw distances, and even a small reduction in graininess. The Vive Pro 2 isn't redesigned from the ground up. HTC put most of its recent design efforts into the upcoming Focus 3, a standalone headset, doesn't require a connection to a system. For the Vive Pro 2, HTC reused much of the old design for the Vive Pro 2. The new headset shares the same shell as the original Vive Pro, as well as the Vive Pro Eye and Vive Pro Secure, which is designed for businesses with high security needs. The only difference is in the exterior color. You can tell you're looking at a Vive Pro 2 from the black housing that encases the visor and the contrasting blue accent around the front cameras and on the head strap. The Vive Pro 2 retains all the features that Vive Pro users have known since day one. The headset includes the same rigid head strap that came with the original Vive Pro, but the rear tension dial is updated slightly. The dial has a softer clicking sound than that of the original Vive Pro. Otherwise, the dial is identical to what's on the old headset. The Vive Pro 2 includes built-in headphones that have multi-angle adjustment, so you can get the perfect fit for your ears. The headphones are mounted to a 360-degree swivel. The arm they attach to has a vertical adjustment, and they can flip out. That means you can pull the speakers away from your ears when you take the headset off, avoiding snagging. You'll find the volume and microphone mute buttons on the ear cups. The Vive Pro 2 also retains the eye relief adjustment button and the IPD adjustment, more on that in the next section, dial, as well as the dual monochrome cameras on the front that enable pass-through view. Unfortunately, HTC also retained a subpar microphone from the original Vive Pro headset. It would have been nice to see an improvement on that front. The new headset even retains HTC's LinkBox system, which gives you a single proprietary cable that carries the power, USB and DisplayPort signals to the headset. The LinkBox features a mini DisplayPort, USB 3.0 port, and a 12V barrel plug for power. The new LinkBox is compatible with the old Vive Pro and HTC Vive Cosmos headsets, but the Vive Pro 2 will not function with the older LinkBoxes. Cables included are a proprietary data cable from the headset to the LinkBox, a LinkBox cable, a USB cable, mini DisplayPort to DisplayPort cable and an 18W 12V power adapter. The full package also includes two 5W charge blocks, two micro USB cables for charging the controllers, and two 30W 12V power adapters for the base stations. The speakers in the Vive Pro 2 produce 3D sound that help further the immersion in VR experiences. But compared to the Valve Index, HP Reverb G2 or a Pimax headset with the proprietary DMAS headphones, the Vive Pro 2 does not produce much bass. It's easy to write off the Valve Index as another nondescript VR headset in the same vein as any Oculus Rift or HTC Vive headset, but the devil's all in the detail here. On the front, there's a glossy plastic faceplate above two front-facing cameras that can be used for pass-through video and, potentially, AR applications. Go to put the headset on and you'll feel the stone gray pads that line the inside. It's a similar halo design to what Oculus is doing on the Rift S, and it feels both comfortable and snug. To keep it that way, there are two dials you'll need to use, one on the left side that changes the physical distance from the lens to your eyes, and the one on that back that makes the headband tighter or looser. While the second is definitely important, it's something we've seen before. It's the first dial that's actually groundbreaking, as that's what allows the Index to achieve its industry-leading field of view spec amazingly. While all these features would seem to require extra horsepower under the hood of your PC, they actually worked fine with our much older NVIDIA GTX 980 GPU. That's a boon for folks who don't have the money to upgrade their GPU after buying a $1,000 VR headset, and it could allow for more people to get into VR. That last bit is important, because as more people adopt VR, more developers will see a business case for making VR games. Right now, Steam's VR selection is a bit bare compared to the ever-expanding main store, and even the top titles selected by Valve to show off the new hardware are really just a lot of old titles that play better with the knuckle controllers. See Space Pirate Trainer, Fruit Ninja, Beat Saber, and Arizona Sunshine. The Oculus Quest 2 is worn on the head, quite a bit like a scuba mask. Where a scuba mask's window would be, you've instead got a padded cavity that houses a pair of goggle-like lenses that sit in front of a screen, giving you stereoscopic 3D visuals. Paired with motion sensors and accelerometers in the headset, you can move your head and see the motions reflected in real time on the digital screen in front of you, as if you were looking out and moving around in the real world. It's a similarly lightweight design to the first Oculus Quest, now available in white plastic rather than a dust-hugging, fabric-covered black, with its outer shell housing external cameras that help to track your positioning and that of the supplied controllers. You tighten the headset with a Velcro, slightly elasticated fabric strap, a change, not necessarily for the better, from the more structured rubberized original. The internal improvements between the Quest 2 and the original Quest headset are significant. Compared to the original Quest, the Quest 2 offers 6 GB of RAM compared to 4 GB, and there's a much faster Qualcomm Snapdragon XR2 chipset running the show. This allows for greater fidelity in experiences shown on the Quest 2, as well as allowing for boosted resolutions and refresh rates. The first Oculus Quest made use of dual 1440 by 1600 resolution OLED displays, one for each eye, but the Quest 2 opts for a single LCD panel, split so as to display an 1832 by 1920 pixel resolution per eye. That's about 50% sharper than the original, and while we'd usually prefer the richness of an OLED display, we hardly missed it here. LCD also opens up an improved refresh rate of 90 Hz to developers, compared to the original Quest's 72 Hz.